Hello everyone, I am back once again, and this is gonna be a video showcasing a Wi-Fi match for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And I know, it's been a while since I last showcased a match, but truth be told, it's because what happens is that my PC, well, let's just say that it had a problem. Particularly my graphics board, actually, it kind of blew up while I was streaming a tournament for Smash, and as a result, I was supposed to get it fixed like as soon as it happened, but I kind of just never did, and was just kind of messing around until my PC's liquid cooler just kind of went out, and as a result, I figured, okay, at this point, now I do have to get these parts fixed, because if not, then this PC will probably go to hell, and then I'll probably not be able to make videos for God knows how long. And most importantly, at least for me, I would not be able to tie up any loose ends that I had, and one of those loose ends is in fact this this series of Wi-Fi matches that I have left still for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So yeah, but now I thankfully got the PC fixed now, thankfully, so in a way I'm back now. So we're gonna just basically get into it so we can just like get this over with and whatnot. So let's see. My opponent for this match is actually going to be a particularly interesting individual, because this opponent actually reminds me heavily of Heisenberg. I don't know how many of you actually know about him, but he was actually somebody that I battled in Generation 6. And I'll admit that he was something of an inspiration to how I battled later on, honestly, including in Gen 7. So. But I only battled that guy in Gen 6, so it's just something worth noting, honestly. He was something of an inspiration. And I was also somewhat of a fan of the guy, because he had this one particular team that has Sharpedo in it, and I always thought it was cool to see people, you know, using Sharpedo on their teams and whatnot. But, yeah, so... but the thing was that he kind of, like, showed his true colors. I'll leave videos in the description below to show you guys the matches that I had with Heisenberg. But basically, Heisenberg was just this guy that is a very good battler, likes to do OU matches, but use low tier mons. That's why every time somebody actually does this against me, I always like to, you know, call this situation the Heisenberg situation, because this Heisenberg dude was basically like, that's basically what he did. So it's just like, okay, how are we gonna deal with this shenaniganry? And a lot of the time, this guy does actually end up outplaying me. I think at the time I was also just not that good of a battler too, honestly. And I think to this day I still kind of am pretty average. I'm not like that great or anything, but you know, it's something still at the end of the day. But yeah, so it got to a point where I was actually starting to notice that when he was losing, because of RNG obviously, he was visibly upset. Like, he was like more upset than I was actually expecting him to be, honestly. Like, I was anticipating him to get a little disappointed, but he was like viciously angry, actually. Like, it actually kind of took me by surprise, I'll admit. So later on, he kind of like rematched me, because like he I beat him the first time, so he kind of rematched me again. Like, he, you know, we were at it, so he like communicated with me through the PSS and just like requested a match. I battled him, I lost to him, I lost in a Sharpedo Ditto even, honestly, and got 3 protects. So because of that, I actually ended up forfeiting it, because I was just like, you know what, Sharpedo probably just doesn't want to lose to the other Sharpedo. So I was just like, okay, fine, we'll forfeit then. And you know, history was made, sort of, because I think that's the only time I've ever documented 3 protects actually ever happening in a row. But anyway, so yeah, after that, I rematched him one more time, beat him again with RNG once again, and this time he forfeited, and I was just like, okay. I was thinking to battle him one more time, but he started to kind of like talk crap in the PSS, and I was just like, nah, I ain't about that life, honestly. So, you know, I just kind of left it at that, honestly. Never battled him since, honestly, and never really heard from him since too, honestly. For better or for worse, I don't know, honestly. Maybe for better, honestly. But yeah, basically this guy that I have here, his name is Cloud, by the way. The opponent that I have for this match in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, his name is Cloud, and yeah, he's something of a, you know, like, he kind of like had a similar demeanor to Heisenberg, and kind of had a similar approach to Heisenberg. So I was just like, you know what, this could be scary. He also has the veteran battler role, so that's kind of what made me also a little concerned. Yeah, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is basically a role that he gets in Discord for being a either good battler or just a long time battler. I think I have it as well, actually, in the server that I'm in with this guy. But yeah, so because he has the veteran battler role, I figured this guy's probably gonna be difficult to deal with. But we're gonna find out right now, basically what he has and whatnot. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, here we go. So as you can see, his name is Chris in game. So yeah, we're just gonna pick the teams real quick right here. We're gonna use that one that we've already used, you know, in a few battles previously. But we're gonna see what we can do against this guy. And this is the team, obviously, that he's gonna have. As you can see, this is why I pretty much mentioned earlier that this guy is going to pretty much create the Heisenberg effect, because, you know, he's using a low tier team, but he asked for OU matches. So, you know, he's basically doing the Heisenberg, let's be real here. And look at my try hard ass OU team. It's just, in my opinion, like, it may be try hardness, like, to an insane level, or maybe by basic standards, honestly, considering the OU tier. But it is a poorly made team in my opinion, just because there are some glaring flaws in it. But you know, I honestly don't know how to remedy those flaws because I'm not that good of a team builder. So yeah, go figure. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna start the match right here. I didn't pay attention to who I led with, but I think it's Rotom that I led with, actually. And my opponent is going to lead off with a Machamp. And I was like, okay. So if I lead with Rotom here, I think the purpose of leading Rotom here was actually to get the Volt Switch off if the matchup was unideal. And from the looks of it, I think it was unideal, because I actually was looking at my team real quick to see if there was anything like I wanted to switch into, or if I could even Volt Switch at all. And ultimately, I did actually end up Volt Switching, so... However, here he actually ends up outspeeding my Rotom. Now, at first, I thought this was probably going to be a Scarf Machamp, which I would have thought would be pretty funny, honestly, and scary perhaps even. But you're gonna see right now in a bit that that's actually not the case. So I get the Volt Switch off right here and go into Nidoking, because I figured if he goes for a fighting type move, I should be able to resist it with Nidoking. And as you can see right there, he has a Flame Orb, not a Choice Scarf like I thought initially. So what happens is that my Rotom was actually in low, you know, like it was not invested in any speed whatsoever. And this Machamp appears to be fully speed invested, which pretty much allowed for it to pretty much outspeed Rotom. So yeah, go figure. Even though the base stat was pretty high, with enough investment, it was actually enough to outspeed my Rotom. But it is what it is, honestly. So here he's going to switch out because he doesn't want to take a Sludge Wave right here. And he's going to go into Donphan, which actually doesn't appreciate this Sludge Wave considering it's coming from a Nidoking. And this Nidoking is pretty much a Life Orb with Sheer Force, you know. So it's going to do a lot of damage even if resisted, you know. Now here, I did get a little carried away right here actually, because I actually end up going for the Ice Beam, not taking into consideration that the Explosion here would have come in. I think an Earth Power would have been enough to take this thing out, honestly. Maybe my concern here was maybe that he would go into Azelf, which does have Levitate, so maybe that's what like kept me from going for the Earth Power head on. I didn't feel like it was a bad idea because I did have Weavile, but maybe, you know, Azelf can have a decent amount of coverage, obviously. Could have Dazzling Gleam or Focus Blast for it, so I don't know. There was a lot to be thought about, honestly. But either way, obviously I don't want to stay in with this Nidoking because I feel like this Nidoking can actually put in a lot of work against this guy's team. So I decided to hard switch into Garchomp right here, expecting a fire type move. But it seems like he predicted my switch here because he actually ends up going for the extra sensory, honestly, which does neutral damage to Garchomp. So here I'm gonna see what he wants to do now. I was confident he'd want to switch out. That's why I went for the Dragon Claw here, just to, you know, get any damage I could on anything on his team. Nothing appreciates Dragon Claw on his team anyway, so it wasn't a bad move for me to go for, you know. Here he's gonna go into Azelf, and I go for the Dragon Claw, but unfortunately this thing has a Focus Sash, so it's not gonna take it out immediately, despite it being banded, obviously, the Garchomp that is. and now I'm forced to switch into the Heatran right here because I was expecting one of two things, or yeah, two things I think actually. It was either he was gonna go for the rocks, which he did, or he could have gone for the Dazzling Gleam on my Garchomp. I don't remember if this thing actually gets Ice Beam. I don't think it does, but Dazzling Gleam is an option honestly if he wants to go for, you know, a more offensive approach on my Garchomp. Now here, because I switched into the Heatran, he's now gonna go for the U-turn, and I think here's where I take advantage of getting my rocks up with the Heatran. So yeah, and I think my opponent here is gonna send out all the Kabutops, yeah, on the pivot while I go for the Stealth Rocks. So yeah, but I really needed these rocks up because if he's gonna be going for the aggressive rocks himself, I figured it'd be imperative that I get my own rocks, obviously. However, I am now put in a tight situation here because now this Kabutops, I don't actually have a lot of switch-ins for this, so because of that, I basically have to let this Heatran go down, which is a shame because this spawn could have definitely been useful against the Typhlosion in a way, honestly. So yeah, but now I don't got much for it now. So that is a bit of a tragedy. Now, this Kabutops actually does have the Life Orb, so I really had to pick my my mon carefully here. Because if, like, I wanted to go into Weavile because I could take it out with a Brick Break here, but I had to consider that because it's Life Orb, and if it has Aqua Jet, it might be a 2-hit KO. Like, it'll basically cripple my Weavile, and I was just wondering if I even wanted to do that, honestly. Like, did I even want to cripple Weavile? Weavile could be useful end game, you know, like near the end of the game and whatnot. So I think ultimately I end up sending in the Clefable, I think. Either that or the Garchomp, one of the two, actually. From the looks of it, it might have been the Garchomp. Yeah, it was the Garchomp, I think. I wanted to see if I can just like take it out with a Dragon Claw. Since this Garchomp is choice banded, so nothing on his team would appreciate a Dragon Claw from Garchomp. So I just figured going for it would be the safer option, honestly. And it's kind of a good thing, honestly, because as you can see, he actually does have the Aqua Jet. And now he's gonna basically do a decent amount of damage to my Garchomp. Like, it's not doing a lot of damage, but it is chipping it down little by little, that anything that's left on his team could basically finish it off at this point. But for me, what's important is that I get rid of the Kabutops, because Kabutops kind of hits like a freaking truck, honestly, so it was important to get that thing out of the way. However, unfortunately for me, he is going to go into the Donphan, which not only... I was like convinced I was actually going to not be able to take this thing out with a banded Dragon Claw, because it's Donphan, and Donphans usually have good defense, so I decided to just switch in the Rotom right here just to see what he'd do. I was confident he had the Ice Shard as well, honestly, so he might have wanted to go for that as well. And as you can see, he does go for it. I think here with this Rotom, I don't remember what I did here. I think I might have tried going for the Hydro Pump again, but I could be wrong, honestly. It's been months since this match happened, so that's kind of why I'm like trying to remember what happened, since, you know, I'm usually not very good at having a decent recollection of the match. But as you can see, yeah, it was the Hydro Pump that I went for, so that's good to know. Though from the looks of it, he's gonna go into Azel, so I'm not gonna basically be able to do anything, so that is unfortunate. Because what he wanted to do with that Azel was basically sack it, see what I'd go for, and then from there he's gonna send up a matchup accordingly. And I think what he sends here is the Typhlosion, I think. Oh no, it was the Machamp actually, which is, yeah, it's whatever, honestly. I think he could have taken me out with the Typhlosion, but maybe there was a reason for that actually. Okay, so he's gonna lead off the Machamp right here, or Machamp right here. Not lead, but like, you know, send it out basically. And here, I think he tries to just finish me off with a knockoff. And because I was fully aware that this thing was gonna be faster than my Rotom, I was trying to see if there was anything like I could do, like if I wanted to switch it out into Clefable, because Clefable does resist the fighting type moves, but it does have Bullet Punch and it is Guts. So like, I was just wondering, do I want my Clefairy to actually, you know, take a Bullet Punch that's boosted by Guts? It's not a powerful move, but, you know, it is super effective, and, you know, any form of chip can actually be detrimental to my team, so, including Clefable, so, I don't know. Ultimately, I just stayed in and just, you know, let Rotom go down. It was weakened anyway, so it was just like, but this was just something that came to mind just because I wanted to, like, you know, see if there was anything else I could do, like maybe to preserve Rotom, because Rotom was kind of putting in work in terms of pivoting and whatnot, but, you know, Donphan was just kind of making it difficult for me anyways. Maybe that's why I let it go down too, honestly, instead of sending in Clefable. But I'm kind of glad I did because, you know, I didn't want my leftovers to get knocked off either, honestly. Now here I'm just going to send in Garchomp to do the usual, basically. Go for Dragon Claw, because, again, it's banded and nothing on his team appreciates it. He's pretty much forced to stay in because unless he wants something on his team to take damage or lose it completely, because, again, nothing on his team appreciates Garchomp. Here he's going to just go for the Bullet Punch, which is going to chip my Garchomp even further. But this Machamp is nonetheless going to go down, which is nice because this Garchomp has been actually, believe it or not, has been putting in a lot of work actually. I mean, it makes sense considering this guy's team is like a low tier team, but again, I'm just playing with the Heisenberg effect in mind because, you know, again, this guy has been playing me like a fiddlestick. I mean, look how many mons he's taken out of my team already, honestly. Like, he is one of those players actually. So, yeah. Okay, so here, again, he sends in the Donphan, I believe, and I was just like, okay, no. I don't want this Garchomp to go down just yet, because I feel like this could be useful for something, and you're going to see that it actually turned out to be true, actually, so... Here, I believe I actually sent in the Clefable just to see what he goes for. I was confident he'd go for the Ice Shard again, but if he goes for the Earthquake predicting my switch, then that'd be fine too, honestly. And he actually ends up predicting my switch in the Clefable, which is kind of unfortunate, but as you can see, he actually doesn't really do that much with the Earthquake anyways. And I think because of this is why I tried to go for the Moonblast, honestly. I was kind of hoping that he'd want to stay in to try to keep on attacking this Clefable. But I think he actually doesn't end up staying in anyways, because he actually has the Typhlosion still, which does resist Moonblast. Now, when I saw the switch into Typhlosion here, I was really hoping that this Moonblast, obviously it's not going to take it out because it's resisted, obviously, but I was hoping that it'd get a special attack drop just to kind of like pressure it even further. Unfortunately, I did not get it, so basically, if this thing has Eruption, I'm probably going to get like screwed over or something. Here I'm just looking at my team to see what else I can do with my team because, you know, right now I'm in a pretty tight situation. Now here I'm actually like thinking once again, like, do I want to go for the Moonlight here or do I just want to attack this thing with the Moonblast? Because I wanted to see how well I could take whatever attack this thing was going to go for. Thankfully, he did not turn out to have the Eruption. Instead, he has the Flamethrower, but that Flamethrower did a lot. And given the amount of damage it did to Clefable, I was kind of wondering if maybe, just maybe, was Choice Spec set. Like, yeah, like Choice Specs because of the amount of damage it did with just Flamethrower alone. I usually never see Flamethrower do this much damage to a Clefable. Although I don't think this Clefable was Spadef invested, so maybe that's why it did a lot of damage. But yeah, once again, it did a lot. I was able to, you know, go for the Moonlight and get my leftovers. He did get the burn, but thankfully my Clefable has Wonder Guard, or not Wonder Guard, Magic Guard, not Wonder Guard. If it were Wonder Guard, this thing would be invincible right now. But no, yeah, it, you know, the Magic Guard thing doesn't let the burn damage rack up, so I was able to still recover normally with leftovers. But as you can see, it didn't really matter if I went for Moonlight or not. If anything, this only increases his chances to get a crit, honestly, so maybe it was a bad play on my end. But I just wanted to see how well I could take it. Maybe I could have restored a full HP, you know. But yeah, here it just goes for another Flamethrower, I think, and I think I went for another Moonblast, which pretty much allowed me to get additional damage. I wanted to believe that from here Weavile would be able to take this thing out with an Ice Shard, but before anything I wanted to see one more thing. I think here I let the Clefable go down, but I am looking at my team because while I could take this thing, or I wasn't sure actually at the time if I could take this thing out with the Weavile with Ice Shard, because remember that Ice Shard is resisted by Typhlosion. So I think because of that, not only do I let this Clefable go down, I also try to send in Garchomp, because Garchomp does have a naturally higher base speed than Typhlosion, and I wanted to see if this thing actually did have Choice Specs, or was it actually Choice Scarf this whole time. So because of that, yeah, I like consider it for quite a bit, but I ultimately decided to go into the Garchomp right here, just to see if he actually was Choice Scarf. Because if it's Choice Scarf, then obviously going into Weavile was the play, but obviously I think it was in my interest to still, like, you know, play it safe, honestly, since I did have enough mods at my disposition to actually, you know, find that out, you know. So here he does actually turn out to be Choice Scarf, so this is what I wanted to know, and now I actually know. So, but there's nothing this thing can really do, honestly, at this point. Like, if he switches this thing out, he's just gonna go down to the rocks. So I'm just gonna send my Weavile in and just go for the Ice Shard and hope for goodness sakes that I'm actually able to take it out, because otherwise, you know, most likely I'll lose this match, actually, and I don't really want that. So we're gonna go for the Ice Shard right here. Hopefully it's enough to take it out. I'm usually scared because anything that resists a low power priority move, usually, you know, a lot of the time it's just like, you know, something you don't want to see. Like, I always feel like they're gonna take it, even though sometimes they don't end up taking it at all, honestly, and it's usually enough to take them out. But, you know, paranoid, you know. But here we go. So he's gonna send in the Donphin now. Now here's something. There's like an insane twist here that I wasn't expecting, actually, that I was only able to realize, like, you know, after the match and whatnot. But here I actually go for the Icicle Crash, and I actually missed it, and I thought because of this miss that I pretty much lost this match. But you're gonna see that something completely insane happens here. Okay, so I missed. He goes for the Earthquake, and I actually live it, surprisingly enough. Here, obviously I was like afraid that the Ice Shard would be enough to take me out. But what he ends up doing, instead of going for the Ice Shard, is actually I guess staying just to go for the Earthquake again. I decided to go for Icicle Crash again because I was a little frustrated that I missed that Icicle Crash. But yeah, so obviously I gotta lose the Weavile now. And yeah, here's where the insane twist comes in. So my last Pokemon is this Nidoking, and I was thinking, okay, I just pretty much lose this, right? Cause his last mon is Zangoose, and I honestly had the feeling that his Zangoose might be Focus Sashed. So here I just went for the Sludge Wave because obviously there was no reason for me to go for Ice Beam or Earth Power, especially if he wants to like be fancy and switch out into the Zangoose, honestly, even if it breaks the Focus Sash. He just ends up going for the Ice Shard, which does a decent amount of damage because it's super effective on Nidoking. I take out this Donphan, and get this. This is why the miss for on the Icicle Crash from Weavile wasn't necessarily bad, but rather it actually ended up helping me because this Zangoose, yeah, even if it was Focus Sashed, obviously, I mean, I had to remember that the rocks were up, but when I saw the move Facade, I was like, oh, that's why he didn't go for the Ice Shard on my Weavile, because he wanted to quick attack and then proc this thing's like Toxic Orb, and I think it gets like a poison boost or some shit like that if you know, that happens, and then he can just spam quick attack and destroy the entirety of my team. And yeah, I honestly, like, I was like, holy shit. So if I didn't miss that Icicle Crash, I might have actually lost this then, actually, because I would have been the one that Icicle Crashed after, or Ice Sharded myself after I landed that first Icicle Crash. So it's kind of crazy that that was the way it turned out, because when I first missed that Icicle Crash, I was hella angry. I was like, holy fuck, there was no way. But yeah, as you saw, that was like the reason why that miss actually ended up benefiting me rather than hindering me, actually, which is crazy, honestly. But yeah, damn, we won that match narrowly again. And yeah, so, and I guess you can say RNG was once again in my favor, even though it didn't seem like it at first. But yeah, it is the way it is, honestly. Okay, so this Cloud guy, I beat him. But unfortunately, this guy actually was another of these people that like wanted a rematch. However, unfortunately, in his case, I actually did have to decline him because, like I said before, this guy was very similar to Heisenberg. Hell, you saw his icon right now earlier? It was that same old man that you saw in my earlier in my video right now. Like, I was wondering if it was him, actually, honestly. Like, I was wondering if it was him. I don't know if it actually is or not, honestly. But if it is, that'd be hella insane. But the thing is that because of the desperate tone that this guy had when he was asking for the rematch, I was just like, nah. Because I think the only thing this dude wants to do is just, like, figure out my team and then beat me and then be all like, haha, I beat you and whatnot. Or, like, Like, he seems like that kind of guy, honestly. When Heisenberg rematched me and after I beat him the first time, he basically was like that, honestly. Because what happened was that after I beat him the first time, he was supposed to make me a Pokemon. That was basically what was agreed upon if I actually were to beat him in a match. He said that if I beat him, he would make me any Mon that I want. Because apparently he can gen Mons. So I was like, okay. And I beat him. It was with RNG, but I still beat him. And he never gave it to me, honestly. He only gave it to me after he beat me twice. After he like found me on the PSS while I was like just messing around. He saw me online and immediately like requested a match, like very promptly. And because he beat me that one time, I actually got angry myself and actually rematched him. And you know, I lost again, obviously. And then I think you already know the rest. Like, I battled him one more time, beat him, and then, you know, never battled him again because, you know, guy was a jerk, obviously. That was like the thing that kind of made me not like Heisenberg in the end, because initially I did like him. It's just that at the end he was kind of being way too jerkish, honestly. And I kind of felt like this Cloud guy was actually kind of on a similar vein, honestly. So I kind of just didn't want to repeat history, honestly. Like, I didn't have very good impressions of the guy. Like, I didn't have a good vibe out of the guy, honestly. So yeah, it'd be what it be. But anyways, that's gonna be the whole match anyways. So thank you all for watching this match. I still have 4 more matches here for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so if you're looking forward to it, stay tuned, obviously. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.